Hey, AfterBuzz TV fans, tune in now for the How to Get Away with Murder after show. We're talking about Season 4, Episode 11, He's a Bad Father.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Literally let the buzz begin.
Literally let the buzz begin for some of us, perhaps. But
I love it.
maybe not so much for everybody. This is a crazy episode. A lot went down. A lot of family issues, as we'll talk about. We got these two cases going down. But before we talk about it, let's talk about ourselves real quick. Where can people follow you? April?
Hey everybody, y'all can find me at April Whisenhant on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere.
Elayna here. You can follow me on all social platforms at hey_it's_lay.
And I'm at Nadine DP and the number 3 everywhere.
Awesome. I'm JB. I'm everywhere at Hey John Blake. We've got the chat up as well, so if you guys are watching live, definitely chime in with your thoughts and comments. We want to talk about.
I actually don't
Very
have
inclusive.
the chat up. Actually, I'm
TBD, it will be up.
It will
Don't
be
put
up.
it on
It's
the
coming.
screen for us anyway.
It's coming. Patience. But we will have it up when it's up.
When it's up.
But until then, let's just start talking.
Ooh.
Crazy cases. I mean, they both kind of went separate ways. We'll kind of, I guess, break them down separately.
Yeah.
The first one is, maybe we can talk about the class action, which is the positive, because it was a win in the end. I mean, Nate and Annalise. Let's talk about that first.
Last thing to happen
There's some
first. to talk about,
celebration that it didn't happen.
Good.
How do you guys feel about the way it went down?
I think my face said it all.
April was
really
like
excited.
April was so excited to see them kiss. Like, I mean,
She was covering her eyes with it.
Yeah, but like this.
April was like, I mean, I don't know. Every time they interacted on this episode, she was just too giggly for me. Like, she was so happy. I mean, I know that I love Nate and Annalise, but I didn't like the circumstances. It was just like
Yes.
it was trash.
Let me tell you trash?
Not
That's
trash,
harsh.
not trash,
I know,
but
I know,
like
I know.
trashy.
So let me tell you, the first time you saw me like cheesing, smiling was because I looked at you and you were like, and so I'm like, oh, and I thought it was sweet. Obviously, the circumstances, he's just doing it because she just did something so amazing for him, for his dad that he hasn't seen since he was 15. So that's why it's happening. It's not happening because of like a real connection anymore.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Neither of them have been getting it in a long time.
Right.
Unless, like, we used to see a lot of physical on the show. We've seen very little of that recently.
Little
so
Asher couldn't
it's
get
like
up.
a little bit of, yes. Oh, tonight we did see it
Little
twice.
Asher.
So it's like, we got a little bit of relief from the seriousness. But actually, I was also making that face too because he like smiled for a second and I was like, you're hating this because you hated when he smiled last week.
And his dimple. I like his dimple though.
His dimple is cute.
I'm just over the cycle. The
Yeah,
cycle
it's
of
just-
the two of them.
that's-
Just same
Right.
old stuff.
Yeah. Why do you think Annalise said, I can't do this? Is it because she's in love with Dr. Roja?
No,
I mean, whoa, that's a loaded
interesting.
question.
Yeah.
First, I mean,
Loaded?
I think it's more about just her relationship with Nate, and I don't think that's one that's like right for either of them. So
Yeah.
naturally, they played it sort of awkwardly, like them, like even the
was
makeout
a bad
scene was
kiss.
like a not,
horrible-
yeah, exactly,
yeah.
like
That's
we were
said
not, we
that.
were meant to not feel great about that whole hookup like happening. I
Yeah.
feel like.
But then, did you guys
That's
realize
interesting.
in this episode too, she was like, "Let me do something nice for you
Right.
for once," and then all of a sudden, just like a couple scenes later, she's like, "Will you do it for me, Nate?" And it just turned around again. Nate doing stuff to help
Right,
Annalise out.
right.
Well, because he's not going to respond to like, let me do something for you. He doesn't want people to do anything for him. And I don't think he wants that pressure on his shoulders of like, this whole thing is for me. But I'm like, he's not remembering all the terrible stuff that that she's done to him before. But it's kind of like, I don't think he would have ever let it be that way. He doesn't want the pressure. He doesn't want people doing stuff for him.
Right.
Oh,
right.
of course not. I'm just saying, like, it always turns around to Annalise needing something from Nate at the end, where
Well,
like it turns one way and then it turns the other.
I think she was just saying that, honestly.
It wouldn't have gone that way had he let her do something good. But in reality, like I'm doing this for you, so I need you to go down there and to convince your dad to sign this paper. And if you're not going to do it for him, then do it for me because I'm trying to help you.
Right.
And you know that I'm trying to help you. You know that my motives for this class action suit are good. So I got to pull the do this for me because you love me so much and I'm going to give you some after.
I think she definitely could have found someone that was easier, probably better.
To be the face.
I mean, the stuff that his dad has going against him, murdered someone, or I don't know how many people, but they talk about the murder of someone like right after he had been in solitary for a year, has been in solitary, all, you know, has all of these drug charges, whatever else that it was. I can't remember exactly, but she wants someone that's big, obviously, to make the face of your case, but I think that she could have easily found someone else.
She
but
definitely
of course
could
it's
have.
Nate, so he's not going to just, and after all that his dad did to him, especially, and whenever they saw him again, he's not just going to be like, oh, okay, let me just do this because it's going to make me feel good. She kind of had to say that in order for him to, like, really try, I guess.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it just kind of was pocket aces, like the fact that like it was connection to him directly and everything in his case was handled so like helpful to the class action suit where it was just like literally a shoe-in for like all things considered. Like he was in solitary confinement for 2 years. Like that would drive anyone insane. Like that's crazy.
What was he saying? Did you guys catch it when he was looking at the photo of him and Nate?
Right.
I did not understand what he was screaming when he was saying that.
I thought he was saying like, oh my gosh, like
well, yeah, he had like a panic attack that he almost lost it.
I think it's the reality to know that because he was a little delusional when Annalise first mentioned your son.
Yeah.
And I think you're in solitary for that long and you've been so disconnected from your family. I don't have a son. Or at least I need to convince myself that I don't have a son to make it.
Yeah.
And then to know, like for the way that Nate talked to him that second visit was like, look, I know what you've been through. Like I know how it is. I know what you're going through. I see you for who you are. I understand that I should hate you, but I don't quite yet. So that reality was enough to bring him back. Oh my gosh, I do have a son. Let me go see it. And it's like, crap.
Was he saying my son? I didn't catch it.
No, he was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I think it was like a wow kind of.
Okay.
See, I played that whole moment totally different.
Did you?
In my mind. I played not the one of him seeing the picture, which I loved that moment, and it was so sweet that he had kept that for so long. But the moment or the whole interaction of him being like, my son, I don't have a son.
The second time or the first time?
The first time.
Oh.
You're a pig. You're this.
Right.
I don't think he knew that it was Nate at first, but obviously he quickly learned that it was. I don't think that was him. He had gone through this whole mental thing and was having to forget that he had a son. I think he was literally just like pissed that his son was now a cop because obviously he's been screwed over so many times. And I think that was him like, it's a jab. It's not like he actually forgot or he had to do that in his brain. It's like, you're not my son, you're a pig.
That's
you're
why it was funny.
I mean, yeah.
No, it was funny.
I laughed so hard because that was like when he was just like, you're a pig. That was the typical I've been locked up. I cannot stand the police response.
Right.
It was like, you ain't related to me. You work for them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you work for the pig. So it was funny to me a little bit. But then when you realized that he was really not in that right state, like he wasn't just throwing jabs. He was legit hurt. The reason that he was calling you a pig and saying that he can't stand you, he's not going to work for you, is because he's hurt.
Yeah.
That you would go work for the side in his mind that put me in here and kept me in here, though I was innocent.
How did he even know that though?
No,
I mean, obviously he learned it in that moment, or he, of course,
Nate?
knew it in that moment. But how did his dad know that he was a cop?
That's a
I
good
mean, he
question.
wasn't in solitary
Forever, yeah.
Yeah, he was only in for 2 years. So I mean, I don't
So,
know,
yeah,
he
they
has
may have,
time, do his
you know,
research. He could have asked.
Yeah,
Right, and they
true.
could have, had a relationship when Nate was growing up and like first became a cop, and maybe then things went south for
Well, no,
the dad.
he hasn't seen him since he was 15. But yeah, you're right. There's
Right, but I
many
mean,
ways
he could
known,
have
for
could have
sure.
visited his dad, or
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch of ways he could have known. I do like how that storyline unfolded though, because I thought like you guys that he was just so stone cold against like his son because of just not falling within the family biz of crime. I guess.
Yeah, the family bit.
But I thought it was really cool how it kind of took a different turn afterwards, and like I think maybe in that moment he was cognizant of sort of how things progressed until that point, but then things are really mixed up for him. Not only has he been in solitary confinement, but he's also someone who needs like mental illness help. And to put someone that's that susceptible to those issues in a situation like that just obviously will exacerbate them. I mean, without the right medication.
It's also what kind of scares me for this situation, though, because not take away the mental illness, obviously put that into play. He still did a whole lot of messed up stuff.
That was after, though. That was account to being locked in a jail, in a prison.
Some of it.
He went to jail for having drugs on his body. So all of the murder and the outbreaks and whatever the case may be happened
when he was in jail.
Yeah. So even if they win this suit, though, he's not going to go free. Like, he'd probably go to a mental institution to get help.
Well, he's already served his time, the appropriate amount of time for the crimes that he did. Yeah. And that's one of the points of it is, how are they going to put a man in here for so long for these, drug crimes, whatever, probation violations. Well, that's not anything to stay in jail for years upon years upon years upon years.
Because the case he's had 50 public defenders.
Exactly.
So that means I'm Annalise.
Basically.
My client wouldn't have had the opportunity to commit these crimes that he committed in jail had it not been for the failed system. The only reason he was in jail to murder his roommate or do whatever it was because the public defenders failed him. Like, the entire system failed him. No one thought to really, you know what I mean? So, I mean, that's argumentative.
No, I'm totally on board with you for sure. It's just the fact of, like, it's not like he's not squeaky clean. None of these people are clean. Like, they all committed crimes. But he has served by leaps and bounds the appropriate amount of time for what he's done.
Totally.
It just, I think also the mental illness, though, I can't imagine. No, I don't know how this is going to go down. Are they going to have to go on the stand? What's going to have to happen? I don't know, but it's kind of scary thinking of someone going on the stand. Because
and what that's going to look like.
Fresh out, he obviously, had, let's say, an episode. Not an episode, but kind of.
Yeah, he's, on like a hair trigger. Like, he could.
Yeah. You think they're going to put him on the stand, though?
No, I don't know. I don't know at all how something like this would work. I assume probably not.
Big Nate?
No.
Yeah. I assume
Nate
probably
Senior.
not.
No.
But.
Mr. Leahy.
Yeah.
You didn't like Big Nate?
It's more of a challenge.
Smaller.
Yeah, he is.
It will be more of a challenge.
It's more of a challenge because you're going to have everyone coming back saying, but he's this, so that's why we didn't do this. And it's just, it's clear that it's not, she didn't just pick him because, he has this great background. Obviously, there's more to it.
But I think his potential for kind of turning into chaos makes it a better thing to bring into the courtroom, like show them like how bad it really is. Like, he was so clearly treated the wrong way, and like they went through, like, I feel like that will make it much more obvious to the jury that something, we should have done this differently. He should have been taken to a mental institution, like
or tried as mentally ill at least,
or just like this. It was a corrupt system that kind of snowballed into this, and now it's like almost irreparable.
So that's the point that I was trying to make. These like little crimes that he did, I don't. Maybe he wasn't mentally ill when those happened, but because of being in jail, being in solitary confinement, who knows why he was for that long. That obviously made him that way. So I'm like, will that be against him? Like, he wasn't, and then he was, and then I don't know. Either way,
interesting watch though.
But I think that it's going to bring up a lot because do you remember Annalise's homegirl who really wasn't her homegirl, the one that she met in jail, who was the prostitute? And then technically she was supposed to be in jail because she committed all these crimes, but then
she got out and
because Annalise, when Annalise fought for her case, she granted, she did these crimes. She's supposed to serve time. However, let's go to the point of why she committed the crime. So we don't know what's going to be dug up from Nate Leahy Sr.'s lifestyle or story, because maybe it wasn't his crime. Like, maybe, you know what I mean?
But murder's different. Definitely. If they prove that he did that, though, regardless.
But he did that murder in the jail. So, but the smaller crimes that he did prior to going to jail is what I think April's talking about.
I think it's drugs and probation.
Right. Yeah. So I think that there's going to be a way for, the writers to make it.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
a little
just-
move.
Yes.
Wink,
I agree.
writers.
The girl
If
you
you're
were talking
listening.
about in particular, this now she got out and bad stuff happened to her, but I think with Nate Sr., I don't know. I can't imagine him. It's any situation is going to be better than a solitary confinement situation.
Right.
It is kind of a scary thing to think, oh, he wasn't tried this way because he is mentally ill. Obviously, we all know that mental institutions aren't the greatest place for people to be, but obviously it's probably better. I
Right.
assume, I don't
Yeah.
know a lot, than solitary confinement.
Totally.
But
Yeah,
we'll see.
I think that you said it best right there. Like, anything is better than the situation he's in right now. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that they would let him go free because of how far gone he is.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, I think he should be just switched to, like, a more mental health conscious care situation.
Yeah.
But we'll wait and see. I mean, I think because it's such a big class action case, it's not going to be the only one they highlight, but
Sure.
it's definitely going to be like a front runner because they just don't have time to
Yeah.
show 1,000 people in
Yeah.
the courtroom.
I just love that it's Nate being her face case.
Yeah.
It just works.
You think they're gonna hook up?
No, I actually really don't think so. Maybe.
I think
but-
they are, and then things are going to spiral back down again. They can't be good for too long, the two of them.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
No, it's not met in the cards for them.
When
to
she
live
was a
happy
drunk,
life.
he was such a good man to her.
Yeah.
He was sleeping at the
He was so
house.
mean though, but he had to be mean.
She was
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were like
Yeah.
two meanies. Oh my gosh, sounds like a story I know.
Speaking of meanies, let's talk about Laurel's case because Dad and Mom on the surface seem to be very much against each other. I mean, the whole we start with a phone call. Apparently, Laurel is half French as well. So Mom seems to be
At least
from there.
living
So
in
it's just
France.
like
Yeah.
right, and so I mean, she's got a very French accent. They speak in French together.
Yeah.
Laurel's very well rounded.
Yeah,
She is.
She knows like
so,
3 languages.
So international, yeah.
Yeah.
Trilingual.
Yeah, this whole
stuff.
episode was not what I thought. We were all saying this
Right.
once it ended, but it was not what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be this, okay, I even said that last episode we did.
Right.
This was going to be this boring court case. And it ended up being this crazy thing. I knew, by the way, that she wasn't going to get the baby. I called that.
Yeah.
But
Nice. Good
should
prediction.
have
Good
called
prediction.
that this mom wasn't just a mom that was coming to help her baby out.
Yeah.
What does the mom have to gain by being on her dad's side? Like,
Maybe she's
under
killed some
Jorge's
people.
spell.
but Jorge has done terrible things
Maybe
to her.
she's
He
done the
owns
stuff.
her.
Maybe she's done terrible things
Okay,
too.
I got
And he's
really
been
Y'all,
protecting her.
I'm a little bit under Jorge's spell, I think. I don't know.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
you stopped the whole show to tell us
I
that.
did, I
We
did, I
were
really
watching
did.
the show, guys, and April grabs the remote, pauses it, and says, "Okay, guys, I just really need to tell you that, I don't think Jorge really did it. I mean, come on, look at him. I believe him." And we looked at her like, "Girl, we like."
No, you
what?
just hit play again.
Yeah, like,
Just-
as soon as she finished
That's
talking.
why I said this, because as an actor, he doesn't have to like be making these faces and things like that. Like, only Laurel was seeing the faces that he was making. It was a look of like genuine love to me, and I keep going back. The things that obviously he's done terrible things to her, but it's when like his whole entire business and legacy and whatever is being threatened. Now, there's no like, well, he did the baby because he thinks Laurel has the hard drive. But when he said, "What if I didn't do it?" I think that's something, meaning Kill West, that's something we've all been thinking the whole time. Like, what if he didn't?
Right.
What if she's
What if
just
like
straight up
Dominic
wrong?
went rogue or
Yeah.
someone
Because
else?
there are so
made
many
him-
other people that were involved. And then whenever he said, it's a shame you're doing all of this because of a misunderstanding or miscommunication. I forget the exact word that he said. But
Miscommunication.
that goes back to like something we all thought at the beginning of this past season is like, what if he meant to kill Frank? What if they
Right.
thought it was this person? What if they thought it was this? It's a possibility that she's wrong.
Do you think like when he said like, give me what I want, do we think 100% that's the hard drive that he's talking about?
She doesn't, what else would she have?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Do you think there's something else that he actually wants that she's just not even thinking of? Or do we think for sure it's the hard drive?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, Tegan's response last episode, I think, made it pretty clear that it was like not well known what was taken, and that it was like what had happened with the hack because she was well aware, and she had obviously rehearsed covering it up and did certain things to make sure that even though she kind of knew Michaela was somewhat to blame, like, didn't throw her under the bus. So I think that it must be, and plus, given the fact that the IPO just happened, the dad is very well off right now. He cannot afford to lose all of this, like, newfound wealth on this risk. So he's going to, like, literally devote all of his resources, which is now billions of dollars, to finding the hard drive and also winning this case. I mean, regardless of how the mom and dad feel about each other romantically or just in general, I think given what we've learned just in this episode about the mom, and it's only started to kind of take shape, she seems like a person that would be easily swayed by, you know, a little bit of cash.
True.
Not to say that she's like a complete gold digger, but like when she was broken down by Annalise, when she was on the stand, she seemed like, I know this is titled "He's a Bad Father," but it's also she's a bad mother. I mean, she was the
she
worst.
Literally was.
Yeah.
I think that it's not necessarily the cash because she clearly just has money, like whether it's from alimony, whether it's from her own stuff. But she is. I mean, we've been told many times before she's bipolar, and it is a, let's say, characteristic of being bipolar.
Totally.
It's you have trouble balancing sometimes the truth, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that like literally in a science way. But I could imagine him. I mean, obviously, look how easily he could have possibly manipulated me. I like
possibly.
It's
keyword.
not that she's being
Manipulated.
manipulated, but I'm sure he could be doing anything outside of like offering her money to get her on his side. But it still doesn't. I mean, clearly with the preview for next week, we see that she is in cahoots with him somehow. But like, what's the point? Like, she tonight defended Laurel or was on Laurel's side. She definitely didn't do anything to hurt her. So what is the point? Like, what's the greater goal of her being involved with him? Or why would he have her involved with him? I don't really know that.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
Please.
I honestly can't even wrap my mind around the fact that Jorge may not be the bad guy that didn't kill. I can't.
It's a lot.
I can't even go there because it's so much. Like, that means everything we know is a lie. I've been hating you for what? For no reason? I can't even imagine that. And then this whole Wes calling Dominic thing, Wes hanging out with mom, like mom being evil, but we kind of loved her because she came out the car speaking French. And like, I just feel a little...
That was an excellent recap.
Why did they do that?
Perfect.
Yeah.
What if it was the mom?
That killed Wes.
Yeah.
That's
Not
what
that killed her. Obviously, we see Dominic kill him. But what if it was the mom?
That set it up. That's what we
She
see. Well, that's what everyone in the chat room is saying. I'm sorry, my hands are
But
moving
why,
a little
though?
Oh,
slow.
I hadn't even seen that. I'm just on y'all's vibe.
So you just feel like you just got it. I mean, I don't know. The whole switch up. Obviously, they had to bring mom because mom brought up the conversation of mental illness, which is how we get to Nate's dad and the whole mental illness thing, blah, blah, blah. Cool. But mom may not actually mentally be ill. All of that could be a lie.
Well, she's been in treatment. She's admitted
What's the
it.
point of lying about that?
Laurel was in treatment for being psycho, and she wasn't really psycho.
No, but she said that she is not psycho. But Laurel's mom has said that she's like, I'm
trust
better
her?
now. Well,
I mean, there's so much time that's gone by.
Why she would say that she is if she isn't.
Right.
Because I think Jorge is a manipulative control freak. And though he may not be the bad guy, he still is a control freak. And even if it switches and he is the good guy, I'm still going to be upset because he played with my brain.
No, for sure. But why would she say she is or whatever?
I just honestly don't know what to believe because the way that she was sitting in bed stroking Laurel's hair, it was just like, dude, you're playing me. Like,
oh, of course. And when she
also,
saw
like,
the picture
named
of
Baby
Wes,
Wes.
when she saw the picture of Wes, that was, oh, I've never seen this person. Oh, he's so handsome. Whatever she said in French. And then, so obviously she's lying. What's the point of lying if there's something to hide?
Yeah.
And she, I don't know.
And
It's
then
just
mom's
coincidental.
calling Dominic. Mom knows that I'm going to answer. Like, oh, let me keep, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I guess why would she have a motive to take Wes out though?
Like, why would her?
What is the
Same thing we've been asking. Why would her dad, just because he didn't want her to have a baby with an underprivileged man, like? is that really a good reason for him to murder someone? We all said, yes, he's that cold, but also, like, no, it's not that great of a reason.
Right.
Same reason her mom could have. Her mom could be, I don't know.
It could be because Wes is Mahoney, and the Castillos and the Mahoneys don't get along, and if the baby was born.
Ooh, back to the ultimate gangster
and
theory.
if the baby, like this son coming in means half of what the Castillos have built now belongs to the Mahoneys.
Right.
And then the Mahoneys would have tried to use that seed, like all of a sudden, oh, I'm Wes's dad, I'm Wes's granddad. And then now there's this whole, so let's take them out.
Yeah.
Let's take out the competition.
That is
It's
so
definitely-
deep
it's
right there. That
definitely a
just
good
messed my whole
point.
brain up. Oh
It's
my
a really
God.
good point, but I almost think we're over, and I agree with you when we think of that. But I kind of think we're over the Mahoney thing. They haven't been mentioned at all this season. They can't just
Yeah.
Well,
That's-
maybe that's the
that's
reason,
the problem.
though.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the reason at
That'd be-
the
But are
end
they
that it'll
really
come
just
Yeah,
gonna
back
that'd
come
be
out
a
of
deep
nowhere and
pull.
be like, by
Possibly.
the way,
That is a deep
Laurel
pull.
mama popped out
Very
of the
deep.
sky, full grown
Yeah.
crazy person.
yeah, she did.
All right. Well, I mean, obviously that's a very complex theory.
Yeah.
What if it was on the other end? What if it was just an accident? Like, what if it was obviously not a murder?
I was about to say,
it's not like,
after he,
oh,
like, got him in
Dominic
the
just fell
chokehold.
on top of Wes's mouth and suffocated him. No, I mean, like, what if the the mom, obviously, we learned was talking with Dominic, and Dominic definitely had feelings for Laurel. What if, she just irrationalized that they should be together and said, Dominic, you should just kill her boyfriend. He sees Laurel with Frank.
Yeah.
And then, thinks that, or gets confused, we don't know, like, how much he was surveilling them. The interaction that the mom had with Frank was so funny, because obviously it was awkward, and she, did not know who he was. But,
She probably did,
why was that? Like, I guess Laura was
yeah.
only talking to her family about one boyfriend. So, could have been have just, like, a mistaken identity where he thought he was taking one guy out.
Maybe. Or maybe Wes contacted the mom. Have you guys thought of that? Maybe Wes is the one who wanted, for whatever reason, to, I don't know, maybe make peace in the family or something, and Wes was just trying to be a good guy.
Yeah.
And then things went sour with that conversation, whatever happened, and then she called her son, and he killed him.
May I add?
Right.
I am totally upset with Wes. Like, if Wes was alive, I would want him to go right now because he started all this drama. Like, what you meeting with Laura Mama and not telling nobody about it for, and then you're calling Dominic and you're Christoph.
There's
But I
a
think it
reason.
was for good
Reason.
reasons, though. I think it was a good reason why he
Yeah.
was meeting with her.
Totally.
I think at the end.
But
Right
that
now,
doesn't-
it looks like so shady, but I think there's a reason behind
Right,
it.
but-
I'm still upset.
Well, as you should be.
It
But,
could have
I
been
mean,
about the baby.
Think about why.
Maybe.
Think about why Wes made that call, though.
Yeah.
He just saw like his dad get shot in the face. Like maybe he did see Frank do
Yeah.
it, and if he did, or if he thought that Frank would do it, knowing who Frank is, obviously he would call something, and then maybe he goes to, like that's where the mistake could be made.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, Di Dawes says Wes wanted to ask for Laurel's hand in marriage, and the couple went sour.
snap. Yeah, just
That also is
nah,
a very
that is
legitimate thing. He had just
Gina.
found out
That's
she was
possible.
It is probably
Totally.
that simple. He had just found out she was pregnant.
Yeah, something like that.
It's the natural thing. He's a good guy. He wants to ask her family. Obviously, he's not going to ask her dad. So let's ask her mom. It's a totally normal thing. It's
Except
probably
this is
that
not a
simple.
normal show.
No,
Right.
I want to read this because you saying earlier your theory brought this up. This is a comment that we got on our link from last week. Lindsay Jones, she said we were talking about the potential of Wes coming back. Blah blah blah. There's definitely potential for Wes to come back if they lose the body in a show. There is definitely potential for a resurrection.
I remember
also,
seeing that.
This
I
is
don't
the
want
part.
him to come back.
Also, I kind of feel like maybe Laurel had something to do with Wes's death. Why was Dominic saying that nobody knows what Laurel is really like?
I'm starting to believe
I can
something like
believe
that,
that.
Going
too.
far with some other things. It's
Whoa.
far, but it's also relevant.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
what if she?
Yeah.
I could totally believe that.
Look at the crazy
I could
stuff
totally-
he's done.
that's
Who
a
was
really
it
good
in the
point.
courtroom?
I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of good stuff from Laurel, but like look at what she came from. Her parents are both psychos.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to pick a bad guy because they're both so terrible. It seems like.
Yeah.
And to come from that background, you might be messed up too from that.
Yeah.
And who was saying it in the courtroom? Was it Frank or someone said, how do we know Laurel's right? Was it Frank who said that? All we know is Laurel's story, which is so accurate. You want to
Right.
defend someone that you know and you think you love, but they could be the crazy person.
But
He's also only saying that because Dominic planted that seed of you don't really know her. None of us.
But it could be true though.
It definitely could be true.
You
That's why I don't
know?
like.
But that's how they. But they're
Yeah.
so right. As soon as I like say one thing, I always go against it. Annalise is right. She's like, this is exactly what they want you to do.
Right.
Even Laurel's mom. He wants you to think you're wrong. It's so easy to make someone be like, well, I didn't do
Totally.
that.
She's a
because
mole.
of this. Exactly. But Annalise even said the same thing to Frank. She's like, this is what they want you to do. They want you to start questioning your people because there's always some sort of explanation that someone can come up with that makes you think.
Right.
And that's why, like, whenever you convict someone, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. It's without a doubt, there's no way you could not have done this. And obviously that's in a different case than we're in now, but it is a thing. Like, we're all sitting here, whether we agree with it or not, questioning, I mean, could it have been this? 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 And that's our job to do that. But it is a good point. He is obviously a good manipulator, whether the mom is bipolar, whether she's not, whatever. She's clearly under a spell of some sort of his. And it's just an important thing to think about. But also the motive. For me, that's what's most important. Like, why is he going so hard? Like, he's willing, his whole entire company just went public, and he's taking the time to fight against his daughter for her son. Does he really think like she's that crazy? Is she that crazy?
Or is it not the
could
hard
be,
drive, or is it for something else that he wants?
Yeah.
It could be.
Or what
It
is
could be
it?
that
Yeah,
something else.
totally.
I mean,
What is that other thing?
I think what we forget sometimes is that this is a scripted show, and
I know.
and it's gonna keep going. So there are gonna be so many curveballs, no matter
Right.
how often we try to figure out. I could also be saying this because I'm mentally exhausted from the confusion that I
There's
feel.
a
You know what I
lot,
mean?
yeah.
That could be happening. And let me just say, this was also kind of an emotional episode. As mad as you wanted to be, as
Totally.
crazy as it was, when Dr. Roja was on the stand.
Oh my
Oh
god.
god.
Oh no.
That was insane. He got
They
destroyed.
literally ripped out his heart, stomped
Just to
on it,
shreds.
threw it across the country. Like
I literally
I felt
wanted to
so
yell
bad.
at the lawyer whenever he's like, you were in the house 15 minutes before you called the police.
Did you kill? Yeah.
Oh my god. I can imagine 100 million things
Right.
that I would be doing for 15 minutes. I probably didn't walk in directly
Exactly,
to my daughter's dead
and-
body, but also I would try to revive her. I would try to do all of these things. And I literally, I was like, oh my god,
Right,
say something.
15 minutes is
I
also
felt
like
bad
not
for
that long. If you
Annalise,
like break
though.
down, then
No.
like force pills down her throat. I don't know if like 15 minutes he would die. That
No, but it's just the
mean,
fact of like
maybe,
the
but-
15 minutes I feel like is so explainable. Like
Right.
say something in that moment. But it's because he's so
Yeah.
overcome with guilt because his daughter killed herself. It's
Yeah.
I can't imagine, but it's like there are literally I can imagine it would take way more than 15
Yeah.
minutes to, you think someone's dead, you're trying to revive them, you're upset, you're like, "Oh my god, what do I do?" It's like how
Yeah.
of course they're just going for the jugular because they want to win, and that's exactly what they did.
Right.
Her dad won. But I was also like, really only him that being brought up is what ultimately made Laurel lose. I
Well,
thought
it was
that
because
kinda
he
weird,
he
but-
got into shock too, like at the thought that like someone is saying you killed your daughter in those 15 minutes, and so his face just looked like guilty as ever because he was just in shock.
yeah.
as hurt as we were you guys not equally pissed at Annalise? Like, I felt bad for Annalise because I knew that she was going to take the blame for him being up there being ripped apart. But
Yeah.
also, you're the genius in the room. You knew his background. No one else may have known it, but you knew everything about his daughter, everything about the addiction. You knew that he was a heroin addict, etc. And you let him get on that stand with crooked Jorge and Castillo's, the Castillo's, his attorney.
Yeah.
Maybe they may not be crooked, but you know that they're going to go above and beyond to rip whatever you present apart. So you let Dr. Roja go up there with his brokenness, with everything that's happening for your own good, just to get broken. That
Right,
kind of pissed
right.
me off, and
No,
I
that
don't
is a good
rarely
point.
I
I
don't
mean,
think she
I-
knew that.
I-
You think she did?
She didn't. That she knew what?
I don't- yeah, I don't
about
think
his
she
daughter.
knew,
I don't
but
think she knew
I think-
the specifics that the detective brought up. That really, of course, I think she expected for them to bring up his daughter, and I think he expected for them to bring up.
I
his
don't think
daughter.
so.
I don't think she. But even then, whenever they brought it up, he was kind of like, okay, and took it
Yeah.
and said what he needed to say. But I don't think she knew about the accusals or
Right,
whatever.
right.
She,
No, totally.
She didn't. My thing, though, is, one, when he was walking up there, when they decided that they weren't going to cross
The mom.
Right.
the mom, when they weren't going to question her, a red flag should have went up there and actually, Your Honor, we withdraw our witness.
Yeah.
It was too easy. Why aren't you going to examine Laura's mom? Have you seen her? This is like your first time seeing her, so we think. You know what I mean? Like, all of it is red flags just started going up, and you may have not known the details,
Right.
but you knew that they were going to do something. Like what we would expect from Annalise.
It's also, though, like, just thinking about what I said earlier. Okay, so she lost. We all knew she was going to lose. It's too easy for her to win this early.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Plus, I mean, the dad has like infinite resources right now, so he
Yeah.
can hire like a kick-ass
Or kill
lawyering
whoever needs to
team.
kill.
And so, I, at some respects, I think it's kind of Annalise may, in her prime, be able to like think of every angle to prepare like every possible
Exactly.
witness
are you
for
saying
every
Annalise
question.
is not in her prime?
I'm saying
Yeah, I
that
agree.
He just
she's
said
on
she's
her
losing
way.
it.
She's on her way back up,
Yeah.
and she's also got like 2 massive cases. She's a little spread thin right now.
That's exactly what I was
Like,
gonna say. She bit off more than she
Exactly.
could chew. Yeah.
A little too fast. I mean, again, on her best day maybe, but like she's taking on like a $1 billion corporation
Yeah.
and a class action case. Not to mention, babysitting the K crew that's like partying or
Yeah.
like what have you, like pulling off hard drive heists,
Yeah.
having babies. Like she really doesn't have an infrastructure. I mean, even Bonnie and Frank really aren't fully on board either. So she's carrying a lot. She's spinning a lot of plates at the same time. And so I think it was natural for some things to kind of not go her way.
Yeah.
Completely.
Do y'all? So obviously we see her trying to call Isaac over and over, and then we see her show up to his house, and he's essentially in his chair, like totally out of it.
Yeah, I think
Is that a relapse
I think he
moment?
relapsed.
I think
it
so,
seemed
too.
like he
Yeah.
was
I was looking
acting.
for a gun,
Yeah.
but I couldn't see a gun.
I thought he
just
was
think-
dead.
April thought he was
Yeah.
dead. April said, he's dead.
Well,
he
it
was,
is
he was
trying to get
moving
away
his
with
arm
murder.
a little bit, but in
nobody
like
would've
a-
murdered
just,
him.
He was just
No,
drunk
but,
on the
people
floor. Yeah.
murder
Yeah.
death.
No, it seemed like he had relapsed. I mean, it
Yeah.
looked like
I really hope he
know,
was
who
just
wouldn't
drunk.
after
textbook
that?
heroin
Yeah.
OD.
No, he's not gonna die. That's too
situation.
easy to have him just
Right.
like die.
I think Annalise is gonna like break down the gate and see him and.
But I don't
I
think
hope
she's
so.
in
Call
love
the-
with
call the
him. Who
police.
is saying that? Did you say that?
I said
You
that.
said that?
I mean, I don't think it's off the table. I think
It's
it's a
not off the
complicated relationship. I think
Ugh.
It's off
and
the
a lot
table.
of times like therapists
Still
and
somebody.
Yeah, but her
And
falling
he-
in love with another
Right,
therapist
yeah, I mean,
again. It's just like, come
in
on,
lo-
Annalise.
In love with is strong. I don't
Yeah.
think that she's like romantically attracted to. I think it's just he's helped her have breakthroughs, so naturally she has feelings for him.
Oh, well,
I don't
that-
think they're like
it's-
I
Yeah.
totally agree with
Meant to
that.
be
Anytime
together.
someone helps you in this way,
right.
they
he's-
clearly
he-
had close,
Right.
like special moments that are not
He
typical
loves
of
her.
a doctor and a patient.
Well, no, I mean, I think
She
it
got
goes.
options.
They just have a complicated.
She got named.
It's complicated. Like he mentioned several times that she was a trigger for him.
Yeah.
And they're both so like intellectually at the top of their games
Mm-hmm.
in their fields. It's like they kind of are a match like just on that IQ level.
So you
Yeah.
think Annalise is at the top of her game, or
Well,
she
no,
isn't?
I think that Annalise
You
is I think
took the-
she's like so smart that it's hard for like normal humans to
No,
like.
you said she was
But-
off
but-
her game.
She is off her
No,
game.
she has been. She
I
just
think
got
she
out of
is off her
jail.
game.
She's like.
She did not just get out of
She
jail.
just got out of
Yeah.
jail. She's like a recovering alcoholic.
Dealing with all these
she
other
also
cases.
like just delivered a baby.
No,
I
in a
agree.
thing.
in
Like,
an
what you're
elevator
saying.
In an
through
elevator, like,
bars. Like,
a
girls
lot's
been through a
happened.
lot.
But does
Yeah,
that mean
she's
she's
been
not at the top of
fired.
her
Like
Her therapist
I'm
is like
here.
ODing.
she's living
I
in a
watched the
hotel.
same show. I
I'm
watched
just
it.
saying,
I
there's
watched
a
it
lot
with
of
you.
Stuff. There's a lot of stuff
We-
recently. She's
is
got
it-
some stress.
I agree, but you said she's at the
Then,
top of
yeah,
her game.
you were like they're both.
I mean, I think Annalise at the top of her game would have known enough to prepare Isaac for that type of questioning. I mean, you were saying like, oh, it's a little too easy
Well,
for
I think
him.
she didn't know though.
Right, but when, like first season of this show, like she was like a bullet train that could not be stopped.
would
like
have never
she was
not known
literally
that.
like, I've never lost before. I have an undefeated record. Like,
Yeah.
She
I will
always.
demolish you.
Yeah.
She always
And
has.
now it's things kind of catch her off guard, and so I'm not saying that she's not gonna get backed there. I'm just saying we're on the come up.
We agreed with you, JB. We truly did agree
Okay.
with you. It was just that you were
All
here
right.
and then you were
All
there,
right.
so we wanted
You
to
said she
decide.
wasn't, and then you said she was.
He's back. He's
So-
back.
Okay,
What he wants.
okay,
He's
no,
back, guys. He's back.
I'm Team Annalise.
He's back. He's back.
Let's be
We're
clear.
good.
She said though,
Just saying.
throughout the
She's-
seasons, she always has this one case that humbles her, that just serves her humble pie. And she's really excited about this class action suit. Like every time
Right.
she talks about it or they find something new, she lights up. She's like,
Yeah.
It's purpose for her.
Yeah.
This Laurel case is taking a toll on her.
Yeah.
Definitely has her distracted. Definitely have her off her game a little bit because she is now dealing with so much. Like I was already trying to get my life together. I just crashed. Then I had to deliver a baby and all this coming up. But not only that, I am fighting with what feels like the devil.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm up against things that I don't know because my client is a secret keeper. Like you didn't even tell us we spoke French. Like I will fight you. Like
Right.
what?
Yeah.
You got too many secrets for me.
Totally. I mean, the whole, like, everybody involved in Laurel's case, I think, needs to be examined. Obviously, we don't have time
Needs
for
to be
all of
examined.
that right now. But, I mean,
Yeah.
throughout the season, I guarantee we will talk about that. Like, before it was just dad the villain, now mom's in the picture, and she's, like, the villain, too. Like, how could Laurel not be a part of that? Like, how can she be just an angel? I mean, we're kind of conditioned because she's part of the K crew, obviously, and that was playing the victim because she just lost baby Wes.
Right.
But, I mean, she could just as easily be just as crazy as either dad or mom. Like,
Yeah.
just as manipulative, just as, like, ambitious in some way for whatever she wants. Like,
There's something more happening that we're
Yeah.
gonna find out. There's something else that they want. There's something we're missing. That's why we don't understand,
Right.
and you're freaking out because you can't understand it all. It's
Yeah.
because there's something missing that we don't know yet.
We can't put it past
Yeah.
her that she was not. This is not wrong in any sort of like. I don't mean this in a slut shaming way. I use that word because I used it on the show tonight. But it is. She did go back to Frank like pretty fast. So I'm not saying that that's wrong of her. But I don't. It's not a typical thing to do after like the person that you love so much.
Depending
just
on who you
died.
are and how you grieve.
Totally.
Because I might turn. No, never mind. That's gonna go south.
No. I know where you're going, and I agree with you, honestly. But I think that it's not like I'm saying it's not like she's done things. I mean, she did like think of this whole crazy plot. Not to say that I would have done the same thing.
She's not a-
because
she's not
she
an angel.
thought that her dad killed Wes. Obviously, with much reason. But it's not like she's just like a totally
Squeaky
with
clean.
it
No,
together.
she's
Yeah.
impulsive. She's
Yeah.
super impulsive.
Yeah.
And like her instincts aren't good.
Yeah.
Like when are people gonna realize that? Don't listen to her.
No, totally.
She's
I mean,
never like had good instincts on anything.
Didn't she try to kill Dominic?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she totally.
Like,
Like
had,
everything
yeah.
has never been good, but yeah, everyone still follows her little
And
train.
now
They're all
she's so-
blindsided.
No, exactly.
You killed
I mean,
Dominic?
she's,
Yeah.
You tried to kill
she's-
So
him.
I think something is gonna come out about Laurel because Frank, they wouldn't have Frank say that for no reason.
Absolutely.
They
she
wouldn't
got-
have him. So there's something
Right.
that's something.
Because
That's my-
now, but well, what they're doing is they're taking over our minds because because no, they're planting these seeds. They have Frank saying it. They
Yeah.
have Laurel believing it. They have her mama coming into it. And just look, leave me alone. I just want to sleep peacefully at night. Like I don't want to have to.
You want to think about
I don't
it?
want to think
Look.
about this.
Just
My
about
goodness.
Nate's abs all the time.
Yes. Oh, and then poor Frank meeting her mom. That's why I think there's something
Yeah, it's
else
the
with that
cold
too.
shoulder every time.
He's like, "Hi, I'm Frank."
Yeah.
In like the most angelic voice we've ever heard him talking, and she just like,
Because she knows everything.
"Annalise." She already knows who Frank is, trying to pretend like she doesn't.
She knows what he did. Yeah.
And then it's, we're seeing Bonnie get involved again, which, that was a weird moment, which is, y'all. Well, I'm gonna.
I
say
was
that for
actually
when we
just
do
about to bring
predictions.
her up.
When she is doing something good for them right now, she's looking into Wes's stuff, trying to figure out the Kristoff phone call, which I think is going to end up being, there's the baby case, there's the class action. I actually think that's going to be like the pinnacle of
What, the whole
season.
Denver connection?
No, the
thing?
whole Kristoff phone
Okay.
call. Because it's a thing that's like here, but it's also the thing that's brought them back together. And we've all been wondering how they were going to be brought back together. And here she is, still in the DA's office, and she's looking up Wes's phone.
But
then
now-
also who is mirroring
Her computer is
bugging
and
her and
stuff.
stuff.
Clearly, it's obviously going to be Denver, or it's got to be,
course.
or, someone else involved in this
Or the
situation.
daddy.
Or the dad, yeah.
trying to see what they have.
Yeah, they definitely had that talk, like, we gotta do something.
Since we
gotta bug people talk.
Since we have Bonnie as the topic, I don't know if you guys go back and like read the comments, or you're in the comments, or you're just here live. But you know, we have a lot of people that cannot stand April and I because we're such Bonnie haters. And over the weekend, I think last Saturday, I was in the comments last show and I made a promise to one of the fans, and I said I was really gonna try to be better and not be so biased towards Bonnie. Just to even out the playing field a little bit, so you can still hate her, so that I can even it out. You know, I'm just gonna, you know, try to give the fans what they want. So, with that being said, I did love how Frank tried to comfort her and saying, if they come after you, they're gonna have to kill me first, because it was really cute when somebody asked about Wes's phone and he was like, oh, Bonnie's on it, and then they were like, what? And it was like, oh yeah, they made up. And it was like, it was nothing. Like, oh yeah, they made up. They were supposed to make up. I do miss having them as a family and them together.
Yeah.
I like how quiet she was this episode too. Like, it wasn't too much.
I'm laughing because you're like, let me say this
You're
good
trying
thing
so
about
hard
Bonnie.
right now. You're trying so hard.
Only because you're like, let me say this good thing about Bonnie. And then you said something really good about Frank. But no,
And that she wasn't in the episode at all.
I'm on the same thing though. Bonnie is I've wanted them to be back together, whether I have disdain for anyone or not. I've had a lot more disdain for Bonnie than I have probably anyone else. But I always knew that it's going to come back to something. But I like that this is what got her involved. And Wes is kind of like the unifier between all of them, because we keep saying, like, she's the one, Laurel thought up this crazy plot, she did this. But they all joined because of Wes. They all joined because they're like, we want to find out why he was killed as well. I don't think if it was someone else or whatever, or if Laurel didn't have such a strong case, they're all very smart, educated, reasonable, air quotes.
I'm scared
people.
for her though. I'm scared for Bonnie because
I'm scared
I
for
think
Bonnie.
somebody's gonna try to come after her.
Bonnie's crafty though. She was trained by Annalise, so
True.
again, the best.
Yeah.
I think, you know, if she's smart, I mean, she was savvy enough to figure out when her computer was obviously being mirrored, and I think she's just a capable person of at least watching her own ass and making sure that, like, she's good.
Yeah.
I mean, she recovered from the Annalise firing better than anyone, and like that was a blow that obviously she didn't see coming. Like, I think that was the last thing anybody would have expected. She's been such a loyal part of that family.
Yeah.
And so I think that she is much more capable than we tend to give her credit for.
Yeah,
So.
I think
For
Wes
sure.
is just gonna burst through the courtroom door
that
at
your
that season
prediction?
finale and be like, "Hello, it's done. Give me my baby."
That's
That's it, and then
That's
bam,
just, where
cut to
is
black.
Wes Jr.?
It's gonna be
Give
baby
me my
Wes.
baby.
Mama straight up named
Mama
the
straight
baby tonight.
named him. All right,
Baby
Mom.
Wes.
Okay.
Let's spit out our predictions.
Well, yeah, I feel like we just did.
Yeah, that was
No,
my
I
prediction.
didn't say mine.
What's yours?
Oh,
Okay,
and
really quick. 'cause we
I'm
don't
gonna get
know.
reamed, but I think Bonnie is. I think she's gonna get y'all,
Whoa.
or she's gonna get in a lot of trouble
Throwing
because
shade.
people are mirroring her computer. She's helping them in this situation.
We just
no, I
tried
don't mean
to
this in a
end
bad
on
way.
Pro Bonnie. It's
I don't
okay.
mean this in a bad way against her. I mean it in like I feel sad for her because she has. People are going to think she's way more involved than she actually is.
My prediction really quick is that Jorge is on top right now because the mom and him are working together. But the reality of it is once it comes out that they're working together, Annalise is going to kick their booty.
Ooh.
Ooh. Oh, that was
All right.
good.
That was like
I
poetry.
think every person with the last name Castillo is going down eventually.
Ooh,
Like,
yeah.
there's no way any of them gets out from under this. It's too big.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see. Obviously, things are going to get a little hectic as this episode
And as
showed.
we're leaving, Connor gave Oliver really great advice about not wanting to go to jail. I just thought that was pointed out. Okay, we can't talk about it. We can't talk about it. We
Keep the
gotta go.
conversation going on. Where can the people follow you guys and tweet at you?
Yeah.
Y'all can find me everywhere at April Whisenhant.
And I am on all social platforms at hey_it's_lay.
Thanks for watching, guys. You can find me at Nadine DP and the number 3.
And you guys can follow me, JB, at Hey John Blake. See you guys next week.
See you
See
next
ya.
week.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.